Welcome, listener, to this audiobook summary of The Master Key to Riches by Napoleon Hill, a timeless guide to unlocking the secrets of personal achievement and living a life of abundance. I'm your narrator, here to take you on a journey through the pages of this profound work, originally published in 1945 and republished by Dover in 2009. Imagine sitting in a vast audience, the air buzzing with anticipation, as a mysterious masked figure steps forward to reveal the key to all riches. That's how this book begins, and by the end of this hour, you'll understand why Hill believed that the greatest power you possess lies within your own mind. So, settle in, open your ears and your heart, and let's dive into the wisdom of Napoleon Hill, a man who spent decades distilling the principles of success from the likes of Andrew Carnegie, Henry Ford, and Thomas Edison. Part 1. The origin story, because this is where it all starts, where a young writer's life intersects with a titan of industry, setting the stage for a philosophy that's touched millions. Picture a crisp autumn day in 1908, the air thick with the promise of change. That's when Napoleon Hill, a man with ink-stained fingers and a curious mind, steps into the orbit of Andrew Carnegie, a steel magnate whose fortune rivaled nations. This isn't just a meeting. It's the spark of a legacy, a quest to distill the secrets of success into something you and I can hold. So, let's unpack this origin story, weave in some real-life examples, and see how it all came to be. The meeting that changed everything. Imagine Andrew Carnegie in his twilight years, a wiry Scotsman with a bushy beard and piercing eyes, sitting in a grand office lined with books and steel blueprints. He's just orchestrated the merger that birthed the United States Steel Corporation, a behemoth that redefined industry. Now, retired from the daily grind, he's restless, not with idleness, but with purpose. Carnegie believed his real wealth wasn't the millions in his bank, but the know-how that got him there. He'd climbed from a penniless immigrant to America's richest man by mastering principles of achievement, and he wanted to share them. Enter Napoleon Hill, a young journalist barely scraping by, hungry for a big story. Carnegie saw something in him, grit, maybe, or a spark of ambition, and issued a challenge. Organize my philosophy of success into a system the average person can use. No pay, just access to my network. Will you do it? Hill didn't hesitate. This was his shot. Over the next 3 decades, he'd interview over 500 luminaries, men like Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, and Theodore Roosevelt, building what Carnegie called the world's first practical philosophy of achievement. The book tells us Carnegie didn't just hand over a rulebook. He introduced Hill to these giants one by one, letting their lives flesh out the principles. It's like Carnegie handed Hill a skeleton key and said, "Go unlock the doors to their minds." Examples from the masters. Let's zoom in on some of these contributors, because their stories, sprinkled across the book's early pages, show us what Hill was working with. Take Henry Ford, the first man Carnegie pointed Hill toward. Picture Ford in his Dearborn workshop, tinkering with engines while others mocked his horseless carriage. Hill analyzed Ford's career step by step, noting his relentless focus, his definiteness of purpose, as the book calls it. Ford didn't just build cars, he built a vision of affordable mobility, and every principle of his success, from persistence to innovation, got woven into Hill's philosophy. The text says Ford's portion alone could put one on the road to noteworthy success, and you can see why. His Model T didn't just change transportation, it changed society. Then there's Thomas Edison, the wizard of Menlo Park. Hill shares a letter from Edison praising the philosophy's soundness, written as he prepared to chase rubber experiments in Florida. Edison started with 3 months of schooling, yet invented the light bulb and phonograph. How? The book hints at his use of imagination and faith, principles Hill later codifies. Edison's story proves you don't need formal education if you've got the mental tools to harness opportunity. And don't miss Cyrus H.K. Curtis, the publishing mogul behind the Saturday Evening Post. Starting with debts and no capital, Curtis turned a struggling magazine into a cultural icon. Hill quotes Curtis calling the philosophy great stuff, even asking to reprint parts in his papers. Curtis's knack for turning adversity into advantage, another principle Hill champions, shows how these men didn't just succeed. They redefined what success could be. Carnegie's vision and Hill's task. Now, Step back with me to Carnegie's grand plan. The book's prologue paints it vividly. I give and bequeath to the American people the greater portion of my vast fortune, which consists in the philosophy of individual achievement. This wasn't about cash handouts. Carnegie knew that'd spoil us. He'd seen men crumble under unearned wealth, so he attached strings. Principles requiring effort, like planting seeds that only grow with care. Hill became the gardener, tasked with tending this legacy. The text says Carnegie enlisted more than 500 of America's best-known and successful men, from presidents like Woodrow Wilson to innovators like Alexander Graham Bell, to flesh out this gift. It took years, decades, really, because Hill wasn't just collecting quotes. He was testing, refining, living these ideas. Think about that. 1908 to 1945, when the book first hit shelves. That's a lifetime of labor, spanning wars, depressions, and booms. Hill didn't just write a book. He forged a bridge from Carnegie's Gilded Age to a war-weary world craving hope. And the examples? They're not fluff. Edwin C. Barnes, Edison's business partner, credits Hill's early lessons for his own rise. Jennings Randolph, a congressman, pushed Hill's ideas into CCC camps for 500,000 young men. Even Manuel Quezon, the Philippines' first president, ordered 1,000 sets of Hill's earlier work, The Law of Success, for schools. These ripples show Carnegie's vision wasn't theoretical, it worked. So, that's the origin story, not just a handshake, but a pact to democratize success. Carnegie gave Hill the raw materials. Hill gave us the blueprint. As we move into the 12 riches and the principles ahead, keep this in mind. This philosophy isn't pie-in-the-sky dreaming. It's forged from the sweat of men who built empires, tested by a writer who dared to ask, why? Next time, we'll meet the rich man from Happy Valley and uncover what riches really mean. For now, let Carnegie's challenge echo in your ears. The key's out there. Will you pick it up? Part 2. The 12 Riches of Life. The heart of this book, where Hill redefines wealth beyond dollar signs. Picture yourself in a massive crowd, the biggest ever assembled, buzzing with hope and curiosity. The curtains rise, and a masked figure steps forward, the rich man from Happy Valley, promising to unveil the secrets to a truly abundant life. This isn't about gold bars or bank vaults. It's about riches that fill your soul, your relationships, your purpose. Over the next 25 minutes, we'll explore these 12 treasures, weave in stories from the book and beyond, and see how they apply to you, right here, right now in 2025. So, let's step into Happy Valley together. The stage is set. Hill sets this scene with flair, a diverse throng, doctors, cab drivers, teachers, newsboys, all waiting for the masked speaker's wisdom. He strides out in a black robe, gray hair hinting at experience, his voice soft yet magnetic. You desire economic security, he says, and the joy of creating your own riches. I'll show you the master key. This isn't a quick fix. He warns there's no something for nothing. Instead, he offers 12 riches, values that, when embraced, unlock a life of meaning. Let's unpack them one by one, with examples to light the way. The 12 riches unveiled. 1. A positive mental attitude. Hill kicks off with PMA, calling it the starting point of all riches. Your mind's an electromagnet, he says, pulling in whatever you dwell on, success or failure. Take Henry Ford. When others saw a crazy dream in his car idea, Ford saw a future. His positive attitude turned skeptics into buyers. Hill says PMA attracts friendship, hope, even the beauty of a moonlit night. It's the lens that colors everything. 2. Sound physical health. Next, health isn't just luck, it's a health consciousness. Balance work, play, and diet, and you thrive. Hill doesn't give a direct example here, but think of Theodore Roosevelt, frail with asthma as a kid. He didn't accept weakness. He built strength through outdoor grit, later riding 100 miles on horseback to prove it. Health fuels all other riches. 3. Harmony in human relationships. Harmony begins with one's self. Hill writes, quoting Shakespeare, "To thine own self be true." Andrew Carnegie's rise wasn't solo. He aligned with partners who shared his vision, creating the mastermind alliances Hill praises. Harmony turned his telegraph job into a stepping stone to steel. It's about trust, starting within. 4. freedom from fear. Hill lists 7 fears: poverty, criticism, death, and more, calling them chains on freedom. Helen Keller, blind and deaf, could have feared everything. Instead, she mastered her mind, speaking and writing to inspire millions. Fear's a choice, and she chose freedom. 5. The hope of achievement. This is the thrill of chasing a dream. Hill points to Benjamin Disraeli, who flopped as an author but hoped to lead Britain. After a disastrous first speech in Parliament, he didn't quit. He became Prime Minister, building the Suez Canal. Hope kept him pushing forward. 6. The capacity for faith. Faith connects you to infinite intelligence. Hill says, it's the spiritual chemical behind miracles. Thomas Edison's faith in his light bulb defied naysayers. He tested thousands of filaments, believing success was inevitable. Faith turns thought into action. 7. Willingness to share one's blessings. Happiness comes only by sharing, Hill insists. The rich man's wife shared her education, lifting him from poverty. Carnegie shared his philosophy, not just cash, enriching lives. Riches grow when you give, like Rotary's motto. He profits most who serves best. 8. A labor of love. Work you love is the highest form of human expression. Robert Louis Stevenson, frail and bedridden, found his labor in writing masterpieces like Treasure Island. Love for his wife fueled his pen, proving passion trumps pain. 9. An open mind on all subjects. Tolerance marks the educated mind. Hill nods to inventors like Samuel Morse, mocked for his telegraph, and the Wright brothers, ignored for their plane. Openness let them see beyond doubt. Close your mind, and you miss the riches. 10. Self-discipline. Master yourself, or master nothing. Hill cites Carnegie again, who disciplined his will to study nights, climbing from laborer to industrialist. It's the grit to say no to distraction and yes to purpose, every day. 11. The capacity to understand people. We're all driven by 9 motives, like love, fear, or material gain. Charles Dickens turned a love tragedy into literary gold, understanding human heartbreak. Empathy builds bridges, not walls, key for leadership and friendship. 12. Economic security. Last, but vital, this comes from service, not just money. Henry Ford's fortune flowed from jobs and cars for millions, not hoarding. Hill's rich man went from poverty to wealth by serving others. It's the tangible fruit of all prior riches. Reflection and connection. These 12 riches aren't a checklist, they're a tapestry. Hill's mass speaker insists they're universal, available to anyone who prepares their mind. From Keller's triumph over silence to Ford's empire of wheels, the examples scream possibility. The rich man's story ties it together. Born poor, he found riches through love and discipline, proving you don't need a head start, just a heart open to these principles. Hill warns they require effort. Mental soil must be tilled. Next, we'll explore how to cultivate that soil with the Master Keys principles. For now, ask yourself, which of these riches calls to you most? Part 3. The Principles of the Master Key, the engine room of this philosophy, where Hill turns the 12 riches into a roadmap you can follow. Imagine you're holding a key, intricate and heavy with promise, handed to you by the rich man from Happy Valley. He's told you what riches look like: health, harmony, hope, but now he's showing you how to unlock them. Over the next 30 minutes, we'll explore these principles, flesh them out with stories from the book and beyond, and see how they work in real life. This isn't theory. It's a toolkit forged by giants like Carnegie and Edison, tested by everyday folks who dared to dream big. So, let's turn that key together. Setting the stage. Hill picks up where the 12 riches leave off, saying, your mind must be conditioned for the acceptance of riches. It's not enough to want them. You've got to prepare, like a farmer readying soil for seed. The rich man promises a magic key that opens doors to health, love, and wealth, but it's no fairy tale. It's a system. These principles, distilled from over 500 success stories, are the gears of the Master Key. They're practical, repeatable, and, as we'll see, proven by people who turned obstacles into stepping stones. Let's dive into the big ones, with examples to light the path. The core principles explored. 1. Definiteness of purpose. Hill calls this the starting line. Nothing great happens without a clear goal. Andrew Carnegie's a prime example. A poor immigrant kid, he set his sights on steel dominance. The book says he adopted a definite major purpose and clung to it, building the U.S. Steel Corporation. No vague wishing. He knew what he wanted and chased it relentlessly. Or take Benjamin Disraeli. After flopping as an author, he aimed to lead Britain. His first speech in Parliament bombed, but his purpose, to become Prime Minister, drove him through setbacks to victory. Define your target, Hill says, and your mind aligns to hit it. 2. The habit of going the extra mile. Do more than you're paid for. Hill urges not for charity, but for growth. Carnegie lived this. As a telegraph operator, he studied nights, exceeding his job's demands, catching the eye of influentials who backed his steel dreams. Helen Keller, too. She didn't just overcome blindness and deafness. She wrote and spoke to uplift others, going beyond survival to service. Hill says this habit builds character and attracts opportunity, like planting seeds for a bigger harvest. 3. The mastermind. Collaboration amplifies power, Hill writes. Carnegie didn't build alone. He tapped men with money and influence, forming alliances that birthed an industrial empire. The book details how he introduced Hill to 500 leaders, pooling their wisdom. Think of the Wright brothers, too. Orville and Wilbur's mastermind cracked flight while skeptics scoffed. Alone, they'd have faltered. Together, they soared. Find your allies. Hill says, 2 minds beat 1. 4. Applied faith. Faith isn't passive, it's belief plus action. Thomas Edison's faith in the light bulb kept him testing filaments. Thousands of failures didn't dim his vision. Page 9. Hill ties this to infinite intelligence, a cosmic force you tap through prayer and purpose. Theodore Roosevelt's another case. Doctors said his asthma would kill him, but he believed in a stronger self, riding west to build it. Page 244. Faith, applied, moves mountains or builds canals, as Roosevelt proved with Panama. 5. The law of cosmic habit force. This is the universe's autopilot. Thoughts become habits, habits become reality. Hill says Carnegie's willpower turned study into a habit, paving his rise. Or consider Alcoholics Anonymous, mentioned late in the book. Members' disciplined focus on sobriety rewires their lives, proving habit force heals. Feed your mind prosperity, Hill warns, or poverty takes root. Your choice shapes your fate. 6. Self-discipline. Here's the master key itself. Control your mind, control your life. Hill offers a creed. Daily focus on will, emotions, reason, imagination, conscience, and memory. Carnegie disciplined his will to study telegraphy. Keller mastered hers to speak. Robert Louis Stevenson, frail but driven, wrote classics through disciplined effort, fueled by love. Hill says it's like training a muscle. Start small, like resisting a negative thought, and grow strong. General Grant's grit at war's darkest hour. We'll fight it out if it takes all summer. Shows discipline trumps despair. Tying it together with examples. These principles interlock. Purpose fuels faith. Discipline drives habit. Collaboration boosts effort. Hill's heroes prove it. Charles Dickens turned a broken heart into novels like Oliver Twist through disciplined writing. Ford's purpose and faith made cars affordable. Keller's extra mile inspired a world. The books late reveal the rich man's secret. His wife's love taught him discipline, lifting him from poverty. These aren't just tales, they're blueprints. Hill insists anyone can apply them. From a 1945 war vet to you, in 2025, chasing your own happy valley. Closing reflection. So, these principles, definiteness of purpose, going the extra mile, the mastermind, applied faith, cosmic habit force, self-discipline, they're your master key. Hill's not selling magic. He's offering a method, tested by giants and dreamers alike. The rich man says, no man may use it selfishly. Share it, and it grows. Next, we'll walk the final steps to Happy Valley. For now, ponder this. Which principle sparks something in you? Pick one, test it. Hill's betting it'll work. Part 4. The Journey to Happy Valley. The final stretch, where the philosophy crystallizes into a personal call to action. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast, shimmering valley, the air alive with possibility. The rich man from Happy Valley, that masked figure who's guided us, steps forward one last time, his voice echoing with a promise. The master key is yours if you claim it. Over the next 18 minutes, we'll walk this path together, unpack his story, and weave in examples of those who've reached their own happy valley. This isn't the end, it's a beginning. So, let's take those final steps and see where they lead. The rich man's revelation. The scene shifts as the rich man dims the lights, his black robe blending into the shadows. He's been our guide, unveiling the 12 riches and the principles to unlock them: purpose, faith, discipline. Now, he peels back his own mask, just a little, to share his tale. Born in poverty, barely schooled beyond a country grade, he saw the world as a tiny, fenced-in patch of backwoods. Then love crashed in. A cultured woman, his wife, who saw something he didn't. She taught him biology, astronomy, the wonders of the universe, stirring his other self, that positive, limitless part of his mind he'd never known. Through her, he grasped the master key, the power of thought, wielded with discipline. It wasn't handed to him. He earned it, step by patient step, until riches, material and beyond, flowed. He warns us, though, this key isn't for hoarders. You can't clutch it selfishly. It thrives when shared. The more you give, the more you gain, he says, a truth he learned from his wife's generosity. It's a paradox, but it's the heart of Happy Valley, a place not on a map, but in your mind, where self-mastery reigns. Examples of the journey. Let's see this journey in action through lives Hill celebrates. Take Helen Keller, born blind and deaf. She could have stayed trapped in silence. But her teacher, and Sullivan, mirrored the rich man's wife, awakening Keller's other self. With fierce discipline, she learned to speak, read, and write, then shared her story, inspiring millions. Her Happy Valley wasn't wealth, but a life of purpose, proving the key works even against steep odds. Then there's Andrew Carnegie, the steel titan who sparked this whole philosophy. He started as a bobbin boy, penniless and hungry, but his mind burned with purpose. Discipline turned night studies into telegraph mastery, then steel empires. He didn't stop there. He shared his riches, funding libraries and this very book, Living the Rich Man's Rule: Give and Grow. His Happy Valley was a legacy of abundance for others. Robert Louis Stevenson offers another path. Sickly from birth, he faced a body that betrayed him. Yet love, for his wife, lit a fire. He wrote Treasure Island and more, frail fingers crafting worlds of wonder. His discipline turned pain into art, a labor of love that enriched us all. His Happy Valley, a creative life, snatched from sickness's jaws. And don't forget Theodore Roosevelt. Asthma and weak eyes marked his youth, but he refused defeat. Heading west, he built strength through grit, later charging up San Juan Hill and into the White House. His faith in a stronger self, applied with discipline, dug the Panama Canal, a literal and figurative valley of triumph. He shared that vigor, pushing a nation forward. Even Alcoholics Anonymous fits here, an alliance of everyday folks mastering their minds to beat addiction. Hill nods to them as a miracle of self-discipline, each member finding a personal Happy Valley by helping others. From Carnegie's millions to AA's sobriety, the journey's the same. Take the key, use it, share it. Your path forward. The rich man's voice fades as he slips away, leaving us with a charge: start where you stand. The master key, he reveals, is self-discipline. The power to banish your old, fearful self and embrace the new. It's about controlling your mental attitude, turning failures into assets, fears into fuel. Happy Valley isn't a distant dream. It's here, now, when you master your thoughts. Hill's examples show it's possible. Keller spoke, Carnegie built, Stevenson wrote, Roosevelt conquered. They didn't wait for permission, they seized the key. In 2025, your valley might be a thriving business, a healed relationship, or peace of mind. The principles, purpose, effort, faith, work today as they did in 1945. The rich man's gift isn't riches themselves, but the knowledge to claim them. He's gone, the lights are out, but the path glows for you, if you walk it. Conclusion and reflection. So, what's the takeaway from the master key to riches? Hill's message is clear. Riches, material, emotional, spiritual, aren't luck or inheritance. They're the fruit of disciplined thought. This isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. It's a life philosophy, rooted in the American ideals of initiative and freedom Carnegie championed. Hill's optimism shines through. He believes anyone with average intelligence can apply these principles and succeed. But it's not easy. It demands persistence, faith, and a willingness to go beyond the ordinary. Reflect on this. Where's your mental attitude right now? Are you feeding your mind hope or fear? Hill's genius lies in making the abstract practical. His creed, his stories, his step-by-step principles give you a roadmap. The book's dated language and wartime context might feel distant, but its core resonates in 2025 as much as in 1945. Whether you're chasing economic security or peace of mind, the master key is yours to wield if you dare to discipline yourself. Thanks for joining me on this journey. If this summary sparked something in you, grab the book, read it twice, as Hill suggests, and start shaping your own happy valley. Until next time, keep thinking, keep striving, and keep mastering your mind. I hope that you've enjoyed this video, and please remember to subscribe to receive notification of upcoming recordings. See you in next video.